Hi, my name's Sam. I'm 16 years old, and about a year and a half ago, I decided that I wanted to write a book. So I did. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about my experience doing so, what I learned, and why I think that if you clicked on this video, you should maybe consider writing one too. Anyway, let's get into it. There's a quote from the movie Ford v. Ferrari that says, "There are a few people who find something they have to do, something that obsesses them, something that if they can't do it, it's going to drive them clean out of their mind." And when I watched this movie, it put something into words I've been experiencing my whole life. I am always creating something. If I am not actively in the process of creating, I can feel it in my soul, tugging at me and slowly driving me mad. I've made hundreds of small little projects, board games, video games, short stories, animations, films, sculptures, escape rooms, dioramas, and so much more. But most of these projects never went past a few weeks of work, either because they weren't big projects or because I gave up. And a few years ago, I decided I wanted to do something more long-term to quench my creative thirst. So I started writing a book. 120 words, 2 drafts, 436 pages, and 1.5 years later, I finally made it to a point I'm happy with my little fantasy novel, Seas of Grief. Sorta. At the moment, this book is not published and isn't in the process of being published. I want to do at least one more draft before I even think about publishing. So this is the only copy in existence. I ordered it because I wanted a physical version of my story. But let me tell you, even though this thing is not currently being published, it was such an incredible experience to write. I want to make it clear that this was not an easy feat. I felt like giving up so many times, and I'd say about 70% of the times I sat down to write, I did not want to write, nor did I have much direction or inspiration. But the beautiful thing about writing is that the only way to get inspired and motivated to write is to write. It really was such an amazing experience because when I did sit down to write my story, I was almost fully immersed in my own world. It's truly a unique and magical thing that any creative person with a story to tell should experience. Now, one thing I hear a lot is that some people don't want to start writing because they feel like their ideas aren't fleshed out enough to start. And I absolutely understand. I've been there numerous times throughout my creative journey. But what I discovered in writing this book is that you truly do discover the story as you write it. It's almost like you aren't even the one telling the story, but instead you're just a gateway for the story to make it into existence. You have to find the story to bring it to fruition. And the only way to do that is to write it. Thinking about writing is helpful and very powerful at times, but 9 times out of 10, what's even more powerful is just sitting down and writing. If you have a few ideas for a story, that's all you need. Now I know the blank page is intimidating, so I'd recommend starting with what writers call an outline. This is just where you type out your story in simple terms. My outline for Seas of Grief only consisted of about 15 pages, but that was through the entire journey of writing this book, where I constantly went back and made changes to my outline as I brainstormed more ideas. But I think my initial outline for the entire book was no more than 2 pages long. If you have ideas, try to sit down, write an outline as brief or as complex as you need it to be, and string your ideas together. Figure out your story. This will help you immensely before you sit down to write. I promise. And for those of you who feel like you want to tell a story but can't seem to figure it out, this will help. Start outlining. I really hope this video serves as a call to action or inspiration for you to write your very own book. I know it's been a really cool process for me, and I'd love for others to experience it as well. I know I'm for sure going to write more stories in my lifetime. I already have ideas for my next book, but I've got a few other projects I'd like to try first. And I thought this channel would be a cool way to document all my creative projects, which is why I made it. So let me know in the comments if that's something that you'd like to see. I've got a really interesting project that I've been doing for the Halloween season. Let me know if you're interested in knowing what that is. But yeah, I'd love to do a video more about Seas of Grief, what the story is, and how it came to be. Let me know if you'd like to see that as well. But anyway, have a good day, you guys.